Okay, it's another virtual day in college algebra. We're doing 3.8. We're going to write polynomial functions. We're going to learn objectives. Students will write polynomial functions for geometric situations. Students will identify polynomial functions in factored form based on a graph, and you'll identify the graph of a polynomial function in factored form. So we're going to start by doing a video on writing polynomial functions and equations to represent geometric situations and solve problems. If we take a look at a couple of problems I've written here, we have a rectangular prism that gives you the dimensions in terms of x, where you have x plus 3, x plus 1, and x plus 2. And we're asked to find a function that models the volume of a rectangular prism. And recall, let's get some we can write on here. Recall that the volume of a rectangular prism is equal to the length times width times height. And so if we let this be the length, this be the width, and this be the height, we can just multiply those things together and we can get the volume equals x plus 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 2. If we want to solve this equation, this is a volume function. Here we have v of x. And if we multiply that out, you may see this in the homework or the test. Multiplied out. So we'll multiply two of these together first and we'll get x squared plus, that's the x squared, then we get x plus 3x makes 4x, and then plus 3 times 1 makes 3. And now we're going to multiply that by x plus 2. And so we'll multiply x times everything there, and that's going to give me x cubed plus 4x squared plus 3x. Then we're going to multiply the 2 times everything over there and get plus 2x squared plus 8x plus 6. So our volume function then is x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. And that's the volume function in terms of x, that represents the volume of this rectangular prism. And it says determine the dimensions if the box's volume is 24 units cubed. So we set v of x equal to 24, and we solve this polynomial equation. Remember, we got to get everything equal to 0, so we're going to subtract 24 from both sides and get 0 equals x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x minus 18. And now we can't group that because it's not going to work out where you'll get a common factor. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out a number that we can plug in to make this 0. And if we let x equal 1, we would get 1 plus 6 plus 11 minus 18, and that would equal 0. So x equals 1 is a solution. If x equals 1, then the dimensions are 4 by 2 by 3 units. 4 units by 2 units by 3 units. And that would be my dimensions. And that's a way that we can solve this polynomial equation. We have another one in here. Sorry for the big name. Here, we have a word problem that says Fred left his house and walked east for X number of blocks. Then he turned left and walked north for 7 more blocks. Then he walked east and he stopped to rest. So Fred left his house. Oops, let's get another one we can draw on here. If Fred left his house and walked X blocks east, and then he turned left, and walked X plus 7 blocks north and stopped to rest, then the straight line distance from where he started to where he stopped was 13 blocks. So this distance is 13. And now, because it's east in this direction and north in this direction, we know that that's a 90-degree angle. And we're asked to find how far did Fred walk. So we need this distance plus this distance to figure out how Fred walked before he stopped to rest. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem. And we're going to say this leg squared plus this leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. And so we have x squared plus x plus 7 squared equals 13 squared. Well, x plus 7 squared is just x plus 7 times x plus 7. And 13 squared is 169. So this becomes x squared plus, then we get x squared plus 7x makes plus 14x. And then plus 7 times 7 is 49. And that equals 169. We combine like terms and move the 169 over, subtracting 169 from both sides, we get 2x squared plus 14x. And we subtract 169 from both sides, we get negative 120 equals 0. Now, because 2 is a factor in every one of those terms, I'm going to divide everything by 2 and get x squared plus 7x minus 60 equals 0. You could use the quadratic formula to solve this if you need to, but I also can see that this is going to be equal to x plus 12 because two numbers that multiply to make negative 60 and add to make positive 7 are 12 and negative 5. So 12 and negative 5. So that means that this becomes x plus 12 times x minus 5 equals 0. So x equals negative 12 or x equals 5. Well, negative 12 wouldn't make any sense because it'd be negative distance. So we plug into 5, we see he walked 5 blocks east and 12 blocks north. So he walked 5 plus 12 blocks or 17 blocks before he stopped to rest. And those are a couple of examples of how you can use geometry and write polynomial equations to model situations and solve problems.